Today on the show, we have Denise Haw, Georgianne Mason, both bus drivers and trainers for Blue Ridge School District, and Kelly Wood, Fire Marshal for Pine Top Fire District. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, I'm excited that you guys are all here. My biggest little panel here. I got 3 people. I usually only get 2 or 1, so it's been a while. So we'll have lots of stuff to talk about. We'll just go down again. I'll start with Kelly. I know that you're the Fire Marshal for Pine Top.
Right.
What do you do for them? How long have you been there?
I've been there since 2000, actually since 96, and we went 2000 full time.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just been going up the ranks, firefighter, engineer,
all of it.
Fire marshal.
Eventually retiree.
A year and a half.
Yeah, not that you're counting the days or anything.
No, I'm not counting the days yet. I'll show you on the phone later. I have a countdown on that.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yes, it is.
That's awesome. I'm counting the days too, 35 more years.
Yes, yeah, for you.
And then Georgianne?
I just started with Blue Ridge. I've been a bus driver trainer. Actually a bus driver for 13 years, trainer for about 8 of those years.
Wow.
So I just moved back up to the White Mountains, and
glad to have you back.
Glad to be back.
And Denise?
Been with Blue Ridge for about 11 years and about a trainer for about 8, and just love what I do and love taking my little kids home.
Yeah, and making sure they get back safe.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
What is a bus driver trainer? What is the job description of that? I mean,
a little bit of everything.
We take the students from A to B, whether it be from the school to their house, from the house to their school, from the school on a field trip, wherever it may be. Try to get them from A to B safely.
Okay, so is that what they call the bus drivers now as bus driver trainers? It's not somebody who's training the bus drivers, or?
No, we train bus drivers as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does that consist of? Usually moving that big bus around without hitting anything.
It
Of course.
consists of 14 and a half hours classroom training, and then 20-hour behind the wheel, and then a third-party tester, usually with MVD, with a test with the bus.
Do you have to have your CDL?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
they have to be CPR certified.
Oh,
so they have
smart.
to know CPR and first aid. And we usually do that within district. I'm a CPR and first aid instructor, so we have somebody
good.
in-house that can do that now.
Yeah, that is
cool.
nice.
Takes the heat off me some.
I know. More people that get trained. Kelly's like, give me your number, and he'll be sending people.
I'll be sending people everywhere, believe me. I get them all the time. They're calling me all the time.
Oh, yeah. I send them to the fire department. I'm like, here's Kelly's phone number. Give him a call.
Yeah.
So with that, I know that there's some things that come with bus driving. Like in Phoenix, it's completely different than bus driving up here. I think in Phoenix, it's all the other drivers that you have to worry about. Up here, I would say it's the weather. I mean, that would scare me to be in a bus driving kids in the snow.
Snow, rain, hail, sleet, whatever Arizona brings to us.
I haven't got to do that yet, but I'm sure next winter I'll learn it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever do you change the routes because of weather conditions, saying, look, that's a steep hill, we need to come over here?
It depends on the safety of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
but we still have kids we have to get to that are even uphill. And
what are those ages of kids? Like when are kids able to ride the bus? What age?
When they start school.
So even kindergarten?
Kindergarten, yes.
Even preschool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We have preschool.
That's true.
How do you? That would be hard. I mean, it's not like you have an assistant on the bus to take care of the kids. It's just you.
Just us.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's difficult, and that's why it's so important that we have parents support us and teach their kids how to behave and obey them, and not only them, but the bus drivers, and just sit in their seats properly, and they'll get to school and to home safely. So.
What's the longest distance that you guys travel?
Our routes run around 45 minutes. We try to keep them under an hour.
Yeah, mine's right at an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought, I remember I rode the bus at school. I got picked up, and I just remember, man, I have to be out there at like 6:15. And that means the bus driver was out there at like 5 a.m. You have to be early morning people.
Yeah.
But you're done later in the day, or earlier in the day, right?
We're done. We work a
About
split shift.
4:35, yeah.
Okay, so you do it, go home, come back, or somebody else does the afternoon, or how does that work?
It depends. We have midday routes that we do. We do field trips. We do athletic runs. I mean, you could probably work as much as you want to, or just do routes where you come in and work in the morning and you're done by about 8:30, and then we come back at 1:30 and work the afternoon.
You know, you saying how you do field trips and then sports and all that stuff reminds me of the fire department. Like every day it's something different.
Every
You don't-
day.
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get.
You never know.
Yeah, which kind of keeps it exciting.
It
And
does.
then on the other hand, sometimes it's like, oh no.
It does. It does.
So I know that my daughter, when we've had to teach her the rules of the road, and the number one rule we have, which is a little bit different probably when the bus driver, but I'm like, Audrey, you do not pass up a restroom, because it happened with us all the time. Every time it's like, I gotta go, and I'm like, we just left. Why didn't you?
You go whether you stop, whether you need to or not.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
You
You
go
give it
whether
a-
you stop,
Right.
whether you need to or not.
And so what are the rules of the bus for these children? I mean, is there a list?
Well, and I sort of read some of it a little bit this morning. I was looking up some stats and stuff. I have rules for kids that are before they get on the bus and while they're at the bus stop, and then when they get off the bus after that. But then there's also rules on the bus.
Bus
You know,
etiquette.
and there was like 7 of those, and I don't remember exactly which ones they were. 'Cause
Okay.
I got a whole bunch of stuff
Well,
in my
we try
head.
to educate our teachers as well as our parents.
Yes.
Have them go to the restroom before you bring them out to the bus, especially
Please.
the little ones.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yeah.
hard for them to hold it. I mean, my route's an hour, so I've got usually about 10 kindergartners. You know, bus driver, I have to go potty in the middle of the route. It's like, well, it's me. I can't stop with 65 kids on my bus.
Yeah.
So-
what?
I even had one poor little girl cry. She was just crying by the time I got to the end of my route, and she was on the last stop. So,
Oh.
you know, we try to educate the teachers too.
Well, the
Make
good
them-
thing is, I bet you she learned from that.
Well, I haven't had that problem
Hopefully.
again.
That's
She is only 5, so, you know.
It'll never happen again, though. And then you probably help the parents out because they're just like, not stopping. We're stopping. We're going to use the restroom every time.
Well, she got off the bus crying, so Mom was a little upset that she was off the bus crying, but then when she realized why, you know. so-
Yeah, to make sure. And that's the support you should get from the parents.
Exactly.
And they should understand that. I know that with teachers, the first thing that Rob and I do is we sit down and say, what are your rules? What do you expect of our daughter? Because we want to mimic what you're doing, and these are our rules and what we expect of her, and where can we compromise and meet in the middle or help each other with raising this child. And it's no different with the bus drivers.
Exactly.
I mean, because they're putting the safety of their child in your hands, and
Right.
you have that responsibility.
The rules
for
on the bus is you sit with your bottom back against the seat, your hands in your lap, your backpack on your lap or up above the bin.
Feet on the floor.
Feet on the floor, hands to yourself. You don't want to be out in the aisle. You don't want your head up against the window just in case.
A bump or something.
Yeah, the bus is designed to keep those children safe in anything. The bus is actually designed like a race car almost. It's a roll cage, and there's all kinds of safety. It sits higher off the ground for many purposes. So your student is really safe in a bus.
Do they have
If they
seatbelts
sit-
in the bus?
They do
No.
not.
Okay, because there's
They
no
do not.
need.
The
because
driver
they-
has a seatbelt, that is
Okay.
correct. But no, not in, now in the special needs and the preschool, they do have
Yes.
seatbelts in the shorter buses. That is
Okay.
correct. But they are safe if the parents work with their children to tell them, to educate them how they're supposed to sit in the bus, and they're not screaming, they're not, they can talk.
Distracting.
Yeah. That way we don't have to look up in the mirror and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, because every time we have to look back there, we're taking our eyes off the road.
Yeah, and that can be an
And I think
issue.
parents don't realize that.
True.
I agree.
You know.
But our
Yeah.
age groups run anywhere from kindergarten, so 5 years old, up to 14, 8th grade, and then your high school, 14 to 18. So it just all depends on who you're driving that day.
Well, and then again with like the sports, if you're taking a football team down, and the way Blue Ridge was when I was in school, we won state every single year for 4 years in a row. Just saying. And those had to be some noisy buses.
You know,
Yes.
actually,
You know, it's funny. Athletics are a whole lot different than running route runs. You've got coaches on the buses that maintain control.
That's
so
nice.
it's a lot easier for us when we have somebody on the bus with us because we don't have to worry as much. We can drive. They can focus on the kids.
They don't have to
that's
pull their bat out either.
No. No, that's good. Now, if a kid is misbehaving, can they lose their bus privileges?
Absolutely.
Really? It obviously have to be
it's a
something
privilege.
serious.
It's a privilege to ride the
That's
bus
good.
anywhere.
And it's a
And
process.
any-
They don't lose it the very first time. Most of the time, we don't even write them tickets until we've given them a few warnings, moved them, try that. We try to do everything we can because it is a privilege and because it is
Helpful.
a burden for the parents if they do get kicked off the buses. So we try to do everything that we can to prevent that. Doesn't mean it always works that way.
That's true. We separate them, you know, girls on one side, boys on one side. We bring the troublemakers, angels as we call them, up to the front.
To the
you
angel
know, just anything we can do
That's
to,
awesome.
even sometimes if it's feasible and if it's falls under a safe move, we can even move a route or move a stop to drop those kids off first. That way they don't have enough time to get in trouble. So we try to work with the parents and work with them and work with the school. And
So when somebody comes to Blue Ridge and they have kids and they need to do in the bus route, I mean, do they just contact the school, or is it a completely, they have to contact the bus area? I mean, how does that work?
When they go in and register, the schools, whomever the schools, will send that letter or the students' information to the transportation, and then that transportation, usually at that registration, do you ride the bus? Do you walk? What do you do? And then they send that to the transportation, and then the transportation builds the routes.
Okay.
Yeah,
from
so if
there.
they live in a particular area, we'll say your bus stop is at this location.
Okay.
And they'll go to that bus stop.
Yeah, mine was right. My house was here, and Viking Trail, it was like, boom, we just go there and wait at the corner. How long do you wait for a kid?
We don't. It's a little bit, with the special needs, you have to give them 2 minutes. We give them 2 minutes usually. You know, they may be having a bad morning and just not able to get out to the bus when they're supposed to. On the regular red buses,
Nope.
we are at the bus stop at a certain time. We load the kids. If they're not there, we leave. Obviously, if we see them coming, we'll wait for them.
Yeah.
But if they're not there, we go. Yeah,
Unless
we
they're
have
an angel.
schedules.
Wintertime, we have leeways, in the wintertime, obviously, when the snow flies and stuff like that. We as bus drivers may not be, we have a set time to leave in the morning, and we may have a light out, or we may have, it didn't start or something. So we have a leeway. We have about 5 minutes.
Blow a tire.
Either way. Yes.
Oh, no.
And we had that happen yesterday. It was fun
Oh,
too.
no. Oh, no.
Too, in the same afternoon.
Well, how does maintenance work for these buses?
Very interesting.
Okay.
Very interesting. And with the budget, it's very interesting.
And that's something that's frustrating. And in the fire service, too,
Yes.
is the first thing to go is the safety.
Yes. the
First
safety.
thing is safety.
Yep. And then
I
they
wouldn't say
first.
safety.
That's what I call it.
Yeah, but I would
Prevention.
say, it's what they do, and some things, like in ours, a lot of times with the in the fire service, unfortunately, the what's the word I'm looking for? The public education goes away first.
Prevention.
Prevention
Which
goes
is
away,
Safety.
Yeah.
which is the safety
Yeah.
stuff of it, and so
Can
then
lead
that-
up to safety.
It can lead up to it, but that's what it usually goes away first.
Yeah, the prevention, to prevent the tires from blowing, to prevent people from burning in a fire. It's always
Yes.
that. And from my past, I was very, very serious about prevention. I love it because why have to react to it. Why not just stop it from happening? And
Yes.
Exactly.
I think that's why I'm so busy in public health. There's a lot of things out there public health wise to prevent. So I
Well, there
keep
is.
very-
There's just a ton of stuff.
Well, and unfortunately, that's how we all feel, as bus drivers, because safety does come first. We are hauling the public's kids, the
Yes.
community's
Prized
kids.
possessions.
Yes.
But unfortunately, we have people, above us who have other priorities, and not that that's good or bad, but it does trickle down.
Yeah, well, it's over all of our pay grades, definitely. I just want to make sure, as a parent, and my child was riding the bus, or as a parent, my child going to school, I would be concerned and say, there's some things I want to know where this money's going. It's all public record. And if I see, it's going to salary opposed to going to new tires, as a parent, I can do something about that, and I can support my bus drivers as I can support my teachers. And when I'm talking about salary, our teachers aren't paid enough, our bus drivers aren't paid enough. I'm not talking about their salary. I'm talking about administration salary, or people, state salary, or things like that. And I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but that's something that as a parent, if I saw that, I'd be like, no, that's not good budgeting.
As you should.
Yeah.
As every parent
As every
should.
parent
Yes.
should be doing that.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I know I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and people aren't as involved. I mean, and it goes from building a relationship, knowing your bus driver. My bus driver, and when I was in school, his name was Gary. I still know him to this day, and he was awesome. And I saw him at Walmart a while ago, and I just remember Gary. I knew his name, I knew the rules. Me and Gary, he was just like my teacher. I knew all my teachers, I knew all my bus drivers. And it
You
was
definitely build a relationship with your kids,
You
good
do.
and bad.
Yeah.
And when you are strict and expect them to do what you want them to do, they want
structure. They want structure.
They
Yeah, they do.
want that. And 10 years down the road, they'll see, oh my gosh, this is the best bus driver ever. Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And
I
that
like the
makes you feel
structure.
good because, obviously we don't do it for the money.
No.
If we did, we don't. No, we don't do it for the money. But
You do it
it's,
for the responsibility and being able to know, be there for the kids.
Be for the kids.
And that's awesome because every day you can help that kid have a good day, or you help that kid wind down from
Absolutely.
coming home.
Absolutely.
We're the first smile, we're the last smile, maybe sometimes.
Or maybe the only
Yeah.
smile.
Yeah.
You might be the only one. Or a hug.
Or everything.
You know, the day I have to stop hugging my kids will be the day I stop driving.
No, and then they
You
need
know?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. It might be the only hug they get. You don't know what the home life is like. So you
And
have to build that rapport with those kids.
Every bus driver brings a certain time, because again, it was Gary and Paul Harvey every morning. That's what I remember. And it was the rest of the story. And I was like, dang it, they didn't finish the story. Yeah, so and that's great because that's what I had. I remember all of that. It was a great experience for me. And as a
That's
kid.
what we love to hear. We love
Yes.
to hear people
That's
as
what
they
we want.
as they become adults and.
Yeah.
We loved our bus driver. Not that we wanted to be popular, because we're not always. We have to make decisions sometimes that the kids don't like, but it's best for them.
Absolutely.
But it's rewarding to hear them someday. It's
Yeah.
rewarding for us to hear that your bus driver was wonderful.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah, he was awesome. Well, and that's again parents' involvement. Parents need to be involved with the child from when the time they leave the house to the time they come back. They need to be involved in those people that are part of that kid's day.
Absolutely.
And how do they? I mean, is there meetings that they come from bus drivers? How do they get involved or reach out to the bus drivers?
Most of the time it's when their child gets in trouble, and then we have to have a conference with them or talk to them. We call our own parents when we have issues with our kids, and that's pretty much how we build a rapport, because if you have kids who act up on the bus, they go home and tell their parents what a terrible bus driver they are, and they're so mean, and they're da-da-da-da-da. We hear this every day.
Aw.
But when we actually have to call our parents and talk with our parents, by the end of the conversation, it's like, wow, that bus driver's not that bad.
Yes,
So,
they're nice.
so now it's like, well, there's two sides to the story.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
and
that's how you build those rapports.
You have more on your plate. You're safety looking in, taking care of all these kids while you're driving on the road.
Absolutely. And all we have to tell them is, if your son wasn't back there throwing spit wads at the kid across the aisle, and we didn't have to look up and take our eyes off the road, they're not looking at the big picture.
Yes, and they need to support their bus drivers, definitely.
Well, not only do we have responsibility inside our bus, but we have responsibility outside of the bus to make sure before they load and unload, 2/3 of the deaths of children happen while unloading and loading.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And so not only do we need them to sit until the bus comes to a complete stop, we need to make sure that the traffic is all stopped, if it be on the highway or on a back road. Nonetheless, they need to stop. Then we need to give the child okay to get off or load or unload, however that is. And so we need the public to obey the stop arm,
Pay attention.
pay attention, absolutely.
There
Look
are
ahead.
so many distractions out there. And I was watching this morning from, I think it was 2013, 2014, I think it was, that I mean, kids have been hit. I mean, people not paying attention on the road. Most of it is texting, you know, or answering a
Cell
phone,
phones,
or
yeah.
cell phones is their biggest distraction. And how you can miss a school bus, I have no idea. But
It's a 40-foot
people
bus.
and people crash into them all the time
Yeah.
because they're not paying attention. The distraction is the cell phones. And
Okay.
There's a
they
big
are.
hefty fine that.
Oh, there
that
should be.
goes
It starts here.
Starts.
Starts at $574 here at the Justice Court in Pine Top.
you run a
And
stop.
we also called a couple other places, and Georgianne found out that $1,400 for the second one,
Second offense.
second offense, $1,900 for the
And
third offense.
you stop on both sides, correct?
Yes,
On both sides, well, no matter
both
how
sides are-
big the road is.
No matter
there's a
how
median-
if there's a
If
median
it's a
in between,
divided highway.
if it's a divided highway, you don't have to stop.
Okay.
But
Kind
if
of like the rules for the emergency vehicle.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, just like emergency vehicle, they don't have to stop. They should slow down because they don't know if we're turning or not into that area. But on a school bus, they don't have to stop on that side of the road. They're always on that one side, no matter what it is. If it's a two-way lane or two lanes, you know, going each direction, they have to stop both ways. I've seen so many people just blow through them.
Yeah.
Well,
And a lot of times there's no cops around, and I don't think that they should be, you know, following school buses, but on the highway they should be watching out for them, and they usually do.
Yeah.
And they get a lot of them up here,
well,
a lot of people around.
this is a good thing to end with. Definitely stop with the stop sign. Always stop as a driver. Get to know your school bus drivers.
Yes.
Support your schools, help your children to know the rules.
Yes.
You guys, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having us.
This was fun and good information.
All right.
Thank you.